Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your singing career. I mean, the doors that's opened up for you. How'd you get there? I'm a guy, I've got three notes. The one you hear, one slightly higher and one much lower. And that's it. That's,
Right.
that's my
So
range. That's my range. So I really have an appreciation for anybody who's got an ear for it, a talent for it. And
Right.
so, but just tell me a little bit of that story.
Well, my career kind of basically began in the choir. Little kid, they asked someone could you sing the lead to this song? It had some high notes.
Right.
And I tell you, I just said, let me go out and get going with it. And so she says to me, never forget one of my first director named Dot. She says, "Ever you do it, you seem quiet," but that's how I kind of started. And boy, I got confidence to sing, and I've always had a knack for a musical ability.
Sure.
So yeah.
Well, again, I'm just envious.
Right.
I mean, I've got a son who can pick up an instrument and just figure out how to play it. I've got none of that.
Right.
Clearly, you or folks like you hear differently than I do.
Right.
Clearly, this is just the case, but I can really fully appreciate it. So, so how did you end up going from the choir to this nationally known, singer songwriter?
Well, let me tell you, what I did is basically I did some talent shows in the school system, and then they had this little thing for Star Search.
Okay.
And back in 1985,
Sure.
The little local level went to
Man, I remember that. I remember that whole show. Absolutely. That's back when you only had three networks.
Absolutely. And so that's how it kind of began with me. And I won Star Search back in 1985, and that's how my career started. A lot of contracts and things were coming. And what I did was I took a lot of the people that I networked with,
Right.
Gave them some demo tapes, and put out a hit single. I think Howard Hewitt had a hit song out called Say Amen, and I had a song called The Lord Is Standing By.
Okay.
And they played both of those songs in high rotation in the radio for my first single in 1989. So that's how my career kind of took off. And of course, winning Star Search, you get the exposure.
Yeah.
That I got. And so I recorded my first single, and I think it was 91, we signed the first deal with a record company.
So how exciting, man, really, seriously. You go from 85, 4 years later, you get a song on the radio, and, it has to feel like it's happening so quickly.
Right.
Do you even have time to really enjoy the trip, that's got to be interesting. And then you did your first recording career, I guess, maybe 2 years after that single-ish, about?
Yeah, what took place is my mom, kind of being reared in the church, she kind of didn't want me to get some of the exposure I was getting. And so she wanted to keep it positive.
Gosh, you said that so well. I've got a mama like that too.
So you know what I'm talking about.
Exactly what you're talking about.
and so from there, and I kind of always had the background of that. I just wanted to discover, not only did I have the talent, Mayor Roberson, is that why was I really doing this? Was it to be discovered, or did I have a purpose with the gift that I had been given?
Man, you just took it to a whole nother level there.
Yeah.
Where'd you end up in that search? I mean, that's, wow.
Yeah, I guess being around, my mom kept me around mature people, people that guided us in the right way. And so I always knew that I had a talent, a gift to sing. But again, it's a different platform when you learn the business, as opposed to understanding talent is not necessarily the platform that's going to get you to another level. There's a lot of commercialized things that goes with the business. There's a lot of, things that you have to learn, because you're devastated. Say people doesn't, how are you saying, I'm fine over here on this platform, and then I'm not. And then to learn that I was a writer, I was a singer or a songwriter.
Well, so you've said so many things that are interesting. One of the things I like to do, because I have a lot of healthcare investment, I spend some time in Nashville.
Right.
And, you go down the strip there to the Bluebird Cafe, and you hear all these really talented, vocalists and musicians and even songwriters. And so the difference, just having it
Yeah.
doesn't necessarily guarantee that you get to that next level.
That's right.
And then to understand the business, because there is a business behind it.
Absolutely.
So you took all that in a space of about 6-7 years, which is kind of wow.
Right. And then too, understanding this is that it's a sacrifice of time and energy. People want to be in the limelight. People want to be have the stars on the stage, but the work ethic that goes with that say you want to be a star, say you want to do this, you don't necessarily know what you're getting into until that work has got to be put in. And those are the things that I'm grateful that I had an opportunity to travel to these conferences and sing at these conferences. Music Row, for instance, down in Nashville, Tennessee, being a part of the Dove Awards, singing at the Dove Awards, and being nominated for a Stellar Award, whether I made it on the platform of the TV version, but #1 record. I have a #1 album right now on Reverb Nation, and I'm getting ready to get back into in the studio doing some things. But traveling the world, touring, gave me an opportunity to see what it was really like, to see if there's something that you really wanted to do.
Surviving the Assassin, Your Assassins, your book.
Yeah.
So I've not had the opportunity to read the book yet, and I'm going to ask you for a copy at some point.
Right.
But there's got to be a tie-in here.
Yeah.
I mean, just the title of it tells you a lot.
Yeah, it tells you a lot. Yeah.
So
Mayor, you remember I said the words. I said, God, why are you calling me to be, on this level? And I've never gone in anything. And then when I said those words, and I started going through, God allowed me to go through so much. I worked for the government for years, and then I said, I'm gonna step away and go into this platform. But I never thought that in my time of meeting different people, we have ministry here in the city of Rocky Mount. As a matter of fact, we're celebrating 17 years of ministry just in our community. But I never thought that someone that would come into our ministry and to sit beside us, worship with us, and pray with us, that was setting us up all along to, they had their eyes on the ministry and to put things out there that was not true. And so my character was challenged.
Wow.
And so people, when you have a good name, that's all you have is your name and your character.
We were raised by the same woman.
And it means a lot. Your name means a lot. You build your name up, you go through this. And so, I had someone to come in and to, question our ability and to say that when it seemed like the more I try to go out and help folks that are close to you or that are part of your ministry, we tried to help them, and they said and put out lies that we were trying to embezzle from them, from stealing from them, and I'm thinking to myself, it was designed to help you.
Right.
And what you said you gave me, you didn't give me, and so went through went in the paper and things that this guy, local guys trying to take advantage of me and blah, blah. Well, it was never true, but it was meant to kill my character.
Right. And that's particularly hard to overcome because it cuts so deep.
Absolutely.
At least in my experiences.
Absolutely.
Because that's kind of somebody you kind of trust, right?
Absolutely.
So you're open more.
Right. And you never thought it would come from that.
That's right.
Someone like that.
That's right. So, but I don't mean to interrupt you, but I had to emphasize that point.
You just don't anticipate that you have to encounter that. You expect that from an enemy. You expect that from someone that doesn't really know your character, but someone that you have helped, have sold into, have poured money into, and done all that, and to say that. But it was something that I asked God, and He showed me. Then you said you've never been through nothing, so I tell you what you do. And I got so angry, Mayor Roberson, that I got so angry that I said to God, I said, if you don't make a way of escape from, I don't know if I can continue to serve. I don't know what I've done to learn this lesson. And I kept saying my name. I asked for it. And then I said, God, my name. And I was telling Him about my name and this and that. And he reiterated to me that I thought you wanted to be like me. And I thought you had something that you said you were strong enough to handle like this on this platform. And he said, the only name I know that man will be changed is my name. And that's when I went back to prayer, and that case was thrown out. I mean, it was nothing that was going to go anywhere. Anyway, it was just I guess the cover of it.
Right.
The cover, people like a good cover story, but person never showed. To this day, and I went through a part where, and even now, my heart, being your name being, shattered, crucified almost.
Right.
And then 2 weeks after that, I was coming out of Food Line, and another friend of mine, and we were actually out, had been there, and I just come back, and I wanted to buy my son a car, and I worked there part-time, and we were coming out of the store about 9:30 at night, and there was some car drive by and came right directly to hit me and to take me out. Guy pulled a 22 out to, they were supposed to get robbed that night,
Sure.
and we were supposed to, I think the other guy was a manager, so I guess they had these plans. And so I said, wow, my name now has been almost,
Right.
and now my own very life.
Right.
And this guy, I looked down the barrel of a 22, and all I could say was, Lord, is this how I'm supposed to die?
Right.
I'm going back to that purpose thing that I was telling you. What am I really here to do? And so he looked away. The friend that was with me, jumped in his car. He looked away just a moment, gave me an opportunity to just hit his arm up where he was pointing the gun.
And just enough to
just enough. And I was, of course, running away and praying. And that's when I said, God, what are you trying to do? Not only was my character assassinated, my own life was about to be assassinated. And those events led up to the book saying, I survived those assassins. And, whether it be your character or your name. But now the writing and the new album and the book, that comes from an experience like none other.
No, I get it. And it kind of reminds me, I can just see it in your eyes, you've got this peace about you, this centeredness, really.
Right.
That, you're going through something like that, and forgiveness becomes really hard, right?
Absolutely.
But it's so critical.
Absolutely.
Because otherwise, that'll turn to bitterness and anger, and you can't perform at your optimum level.
That's right.
And at least in my experience, and it's a hard lesson, but forgiveness is a choice.
It is.
It's not an emotional response, because you'll never get there. It's a choice. And so you're just hearing the story, and I get it, and I need to go out and buy the book now, read it.
You'll get a copy.
All right.
No problem. I'll make sure you get a copy. But I will say this, is that I'm grateful now, though, of every backlash, every hurt and pain, because the level I'm at now, I'm almost at an untouchable level now, where knowing that now I understand what God gave up for us.
Right.
And so at first I was angry, but now the person that is involved, I'm not here to kill their character or to say anything, do them like they've done me. But at the same time, I think people need to learn from my experience, is that I don't think we need to go back and forth arguing about something if we can't have a peace. You mentioned a peace. I've not always had that.
No.
But the lessons causes you to be that way.
That's all part of the journey too,
Absolutely.
right? You got to go in that valley to really understand what it's like to be at the peak, and it doesn't make it easy.
That's right. It doesn't make it easy.
But that's part of the value of it too.
Yeah. And can you imagine the songs that are going to be birthed out of the writing from when somebody can connect from something that, oftentimes tell people, your position, look at your position. You have a weight on you, the city of Rocky Mountain, all the stuff trying to bring us together. And I like your platform and what you're doing, and giving us a platform to be able to have this type of dialogue of how we can better our community. And I think it's no different whether we have a musical background or whatever gifts he gives us. We need, and we have a part to do in our community. I remember the phrase, a remarkable Rocky Mountain.
Sure.
And we've gone through those things. And so, here we are, whatever we have gone through got us at this table.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And there's great value in it. And,
Absolutely.
it's not something to be bitter over, because when you
That's right.
when you do get to that level,
That's
you gotta look at it from like 20,000 foot,
Yeah.
and you realize that you couldn't be you without it,
That's right. That's right.
and then it becomes something you can actually be grateful for.
Right. Right. Right.
Sure didn't feel it at the time though.
Yeah, yeah. And, you know, I talked about learning your craft going back because, you know, even though we're gifted to sing and all, but say for instance, how do you adjust to climate change? How you
Right.
adjust to get the right voices and elements going on your music so people can hear what came from your heart?
Right.
And how do you transform that from what's in your heart to wax or to CDs and to something that we know is going to be, you know, expanded into the world because of its ethnicity of it or its power of it or because of its lyric and because of
Well,
its...
you're telling a story, right?
Yeah, you're telling the
I
story.
mean, the music is a story. The lyrics are a
Absolutely.
story. Woven together
Yep.
becomes almost an emotional experience when it's done
That's
right.
right. That's
you know?
right. That's
And even
right.
though I can't sing, I can feel that.
I love what you said. Wait, so you can feel it, huh?
You can feel it, and that is the power of it.
That's
And
right.
that's why people connect songs with emotions, with feelings
Absolutely.
so easily. And you know, I can listen to a song that I remember in high school, you know, and get just fired up. You know,
Right, exactly.
it's like no time's ever passed. It's the most
Right.
amazing thing.
That's right. That's
So
right.
what you're doing is awesome and it's
Yeah.
great. And,
Yeah.
so you moved back to Rocky Mount. I mean,
Yeah.
you've been all over the world. You
Exactly.
could have chosen to go anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm grateful you're back.
Right, right.
But tell us that story, because, you know, a lot of people like to belittle Rocky Mount or the experience, and I just don't find that to be true. I mean, I find it to be a place rich with people, relationship, with culture, with so many things that are going forward. And not that we don't have our warts, because we do. Everybody
That's right.
does.
That's right.
But I just see it maybe from a different lens, and so I like hearing other people's stories on that.
Well, let me tell you, awesome question, Mayor Roberson, is that you look at this. I was born in Washington, D.C., but I came here 11, 12 years old, graduated from it wasn't the National Rocky Mount school system. Then
Right.
I think they were just Rocky Mount.
Right.
It was Rocky Mount Senior High.
That was me. Good fun. Hey, give me some of that.
Exactly right. And so that's another thing. I mean, you're from right here
I
and
am.
going to school there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
look at, you know. But somebody asked me the question, and oftentimes I get it now. My parents are from here. My mom is from Lewisburg up the street,
Sure.
and my
Yeah, yeah.
father's from
County.
Enfield, Hollister area. And so the question have always come to me when I first came here: God, with your kind of talent, what in the world would you do here? And I said to them, they asked me, what could Rocky Mount do for you? And I said, I'm not even expecting Rocky Mount to do anything for me.
Right.
I went, and I remember RFK's, John F. K's words. He says, John Kennedy, he says, it's not what Rocky Mount can do for me.
Okay. So what can I do?
Is
Right.
what can I do for Rocky Mount?
Sure.
And that's where I've always been. I came back. My mom was here. We wanted to make sure my mom got into a new home and, you know, and better neighborhood. And I started thinking, wow, I was reared here, went to school here from middle school until graduated in 1982. And I kept saying, when I came back, there's something missing that we had that we don't have, seem like now. The togetherness. How do we, it doesn't matter the color of our skin, how do we exemplify that? And so I want to take the gifts and the ability, all the awards I've won from Star Search, from Artist of the Year, from traveling the country. I mean, my gift has provided me with those types of things. And I've sang with all types of backgrounds of people, all types of musicians. Didn't matter what color you were, we did this as a unified force. Because nothing is more powerful than music. Music is universal. I mean, you know, and so how can we connect those things? And so I wanted to bring all the talents and the vision that we have now for this particular area is that now we're going to do a School of the Arts. Hopefully, I want to give you that plan for what we want to do. Get these kids an opportunity to learn. I mean, not only the craft, but we're going to take music and use music as a therapeutic piece, Mayor, for troubled kids, to get into their mindset. How can we use music to calm that beast, to get them to a level to be able to speak into them,
Sure.
and then change their life from bad
Sure.
choices and stuff like that.
Well, let me know. Just let me know how I can help.
Yes, sir.
I mean,
Yes,
you know,
sir.
because you're right. I mean, and music therapy is used even in many medical modalities as
You're
well.
right.
You know,
Exactly right.
so you know, it does have a universal, almost healing power
Absolutely.
that you know, I don't know that we fully understand intellectually,
Right.
but we don't have to
Right.
to see it work and,
Right.
and to be, you know, and harness this energy in that
That's
way.
right.
So tell me where that vision came from. I mean, clearly this is a place that you spend your time in, and you're also pastor of a church, and so you're touching a lot of people. So it's got to be a culmination of all of that. But
Well, you know, I don't think God calls you too far from away of what you kind of gifted at. I was gifted to sing. I was
Right.
called to minister to people.
Right.
And so understanding the different gifts is that I always have had a dream and vision to have my own school. I mean, I grew up and went to Howard University initially, and then graduated from there in '86, and then I went to Elizabeth City. Went to Elizabeth City, then I transferred,
Sure.
and we graduated again from St. Augustine's University.
Sure.
And I thought to myself then is that how do we teach kids the discipline? How do we teach musicians discipline to play and to follow and to learn? No different than players, whether they play in sports. It's more than just the sport, but can I teach them life lessons out of whatever gift that we're trying? I've been around people like, we lost him not too long ago, Coach Michael Wright, who had the Carolina Stallions, and what he was trying to do with his program.
Right.
And so
it was very successful.
very successful.
There's a lot of kids out there that he's the closest thing to Dad that
Absolutely.
and he was
That's true.
a builder of people.
Absolutely. And so that vision, I'm around Howard University, Duke Ellington, the School of the Arts. I mean, you know, I went to school with a lot of stars, Roberta Flack and Morgan Freeman. A lot of those people, the guy that played I think he was in Malcolm X movie.
Sure,
He played Elijah Muhammad in that movie. Actors that went there, Ralph Carter from Good Times. And so I've always seen it and visualized it. I wanted to be able to put, after all of the gifts and the accolades, all that's fine. But if you're not willing to give back to your community what you learned, why do you think, you were given that platform? I just don't know.
Well, that's as eloquent of an answer as you give.
Yeah.
Because it is about serving other folks. And at least in my experience, that's all I can speak to, right? It's my experience.
Exactly.
The more I give, the more I really end up receiving.
Right.
And it's not necessarily the same, call it capital, but the return is great. And there's no way to describe it other than just go do it. Go share yourself,
Mayor, doing this demographics around this area, you know how many churches that's trying to, say don't have ample musicians?
Right.
So if we train them, we can send them there, give them to these churches and say, look, they need musicians, but on an intern level. Then give them the experience to go to, whether it's up the street to a community college or to West End College or somewhere.
Right.
So we're working that out with them for the hours that they're going to have for internship. But we're trying to give it a platform because we know we're in some of the areas of kids in poverty-stricken areas.
Sure.
They don't have the money to pay for it. So how do we still bring it to them that they don't have to worry about that cost? Or what do we got to do to make it work? And so I looked at the Department of Juvenile Justice. They have monies to help troubled kids. You know the stats between 16 to 24 is where that gap of crime are happening with that age bracket.
And it starts even earlier. I mean, if you're unable to read at a third grade level by the time you're like 10 or 11,
absolutely,
statistically speaking,
absolutely,
you got a very rough go. And the predictability of your future is not great.
Sure. And just to see how can, again, go back to the question you asked, what we have a task to give back to our city. Yeah. So you keep talking about our city. Why would all of us be educated to leave?
Right.
And now some of us been educated to stay.
Right.
And to do something significant in our community. And so, and I'm with anyone's program that's designed to bring all of the masses, all of the cultures, lay aside our differences for a common ground of what we're trying to accomplish. And we don't have what I'm going to be bringing to the city, we don't have it in its totality.
Right.
We got something close in Wilson.
Sure.
You know, the Sally B. Howard School.
Right.
But Rocky Mount doesn't have its own. So why wouldn't someone that has gone on the level? I remember going to in October of 2010. I graced the stage. As a matter of fact, Reggie Barrett.
Yeah, good old
Reggie Barrett is responsible
Reggie
for a
Barrett.
lot of things. I appreciate him for what he's done and doing in the community from his community empowerment piece. But I met a young man through him, Joseph Gray, who does the he
at the Apollo.
At the Apollo,
the stage guy opened up for amateur night, and
he does. And so I gave me an opportunity to sing as an artist on the famous Apollo Theater stage.
That had to be awesome.
Oh,
just tell that had to be awesome.
It was awesome. It was just the opportunity.
Yeah.
You know, and to learn what goes on behind the scenes, to rub the logs and to do whatever, and your talent has gotten you there. That's enough just to be appreciative. But the crowd, of course, the crowd is a little rough on you.
Well, they're noted for that, though. That's
exactly. But you need all those experiences,
right,
to be a musician. And he'd tell all those platforms that come as life's lessons. Man, can I turn a tough crowd around? You know,
right.
And so, but yeah,
and don't stop just because
exactly.
a little pushback.
Exactly.
Keep going. You know,
and you'll
persevere.
Win.
You will.
You'll win through those elements, and so. But yeah, we look at all those. I've recorded 5 albums.
Yeah.
Working on a brand new one. Well, it'll be out
TV personality,
soon.
minister.
TV personality. Yeah, we have the Everett Silver show that comes on every Friday night.
Right.
On one of our local stations, WHIG, but it has 5 different cables that's assigned to it.
Sure.
But we're now being approached by outside, some other networks and things. But I interview stars, not just to say I can interview stars,
right.
but if I interview, like I had Patti LaBelle on one day,
sure.
She talked about diabetes. Her mom or parents died. So we give information to our city of Rocky Mount.
Right.
I'm bringing to our city mayor all this talent from around the world to sit at the table and to, just like you've afforded me this opportunity, and to talk about stuff. Nobody would never know who you are unless you give that information.
Right.
And how do we disseminate this information that now we have into and package in such a way all of us benefit, not just one person?
That's exactly it. I want to know that answer because that's really what it's about.
That's what it's about.
Because difference can be power too.
Absolutely.
If it's united and woven together in terms of the right fabric.
Yeah.
And you are trying to elevate the whole, not necessarily the individual.
Right.
So count me in. You know.
And I my mind went back to where we are our election years, but I love what Joe Biden said. Even if you didn't vote for me, I still want to work for you.
That's right.
Even if you know people's differences but how do we come together and make this? I'm willing to learn even more what your plans are for the city of Rocky Mount. How can I help? In whatever capacity I can. And I think all of us need to come to the table and say, how can we help?
That's it. That's the bottom line.
Not try to find ways to divide, but how can I help?